Shalom, everyone. I hope that you're doing well. Those of you who happen to be upright in your heart, I bless you. I just want to warn you that I tried to turn the camera on twice this morning, and the wrath of God was just coming out of my spirit. And it started a couple of days ago. So if you're new, look, I feel energy, and God has me do a specific work for Him. And I don't have to explain myself to nobody. All I got to do is show up and be what God's called me to be. And He can prove Himself through His own people all day long. And He most certainly does. And I got way too many videos to prove His hand over this platform and what He's called me to do on it. And I'm dealing with a lot of nasty, wicked, disgusting maggots that so-called have their title of authority, and they dirty. And God is having me read some things to these people. And I woke up a couple of days ago. I guess it was yesterday morning. Yeah, it was yesterday morning. I heard the word reset. And today I was scrolling online, and I just happened to see President Trump, and there was something there on YouTube about the word reset was real big on the video. I didn't watch the video. It was just a confirmation that God spoke the word reset through my spirit, and I heard it real loud yesterday morning, and today there it was. And God's going to do a different type of a reset. I don't know what that video was about, but I didn't feel the unction to go watch the video. But when God speaks, He means business, and I listen to Him. And when He says wrath is coming, it's coming. And yesterday He had me read, and this is going to be a long reading, and I'm going to interject some things inside here, and we're going to look at the Old and the New Testament. This is not a religious channel. I'm not a religious person. I'm for righteousness. And there's also wrathful righteousness, and it's come from God. And He had me read yesterday this portion that I'm going to read here for people and big shots all over the place that are doing crazy stuff to the people of God. And you're going to drink a cup of wrath from God. That wrath just really began to boil a couple days ago, and then when I had to come back out in my car because what somebody's doing to me, it just began to boil even more. And God said, I'm going to take you to Jeremiah, and I'm going to take you to Revelation, and it's going to coincide with one another. And these people are you're going to drink the wrath of God so freaking bad for what you've done. And the music industry's found in here as well, by the way. And so all you big shots taking people's talent and stuff like that, God showed me this morning. There, I was just like, oh my God, there's the music industry right there within it. And so it's just evident of why certain things are also playing out. People are just playing right into the wrath of God itself because it's been prophesied. And so unless you walking with God, there ain't no hope for some people. Jeremiah chapter 25, which is a 7, by the way. And yesterday God had me get on the platform and read 7 things that He hates. And He hates wickedness, and we're not going to go back into that. But this 7 goes to abominable things with God, and it goes to justice with the 7th house, which is the truth, which goes to the sword. And the sword is found here. And I'm telling you, people that are doing what you've done to me and other people, and this nasty thing that you've done to me and other people, this is a warning today. If you do not release and give back what's mine, you will die, you and your children, and you will be uprooted forevermore. The doom of the nations start, and that's what it's titled here, starting in verse 15 of chapter 25 of Jeremiah. It says, for thus saith Jehovah, the Elohim of Yisrael, unto me. First, let me just say, judgment begins at the house of the Most High God. It begins at the house of the Lord, like we're told in Peter in the New Testament. And so God's no respecter person. He's going to deal with his own people that should freaking know better on some stuff. And then he's going out to the nations. Nobody is going to escape the wrath of God. It goes to every nation here. And God says he's putting a reset. It says, for thus saith Jehovah Elohim, the God of Yisrael, unto me, Jeremiah says, to take the cup of wine of the fury of my hand. It's furious. God said the other day plagues were on their way. They've already started. Take the cup of this fury at my hand and cause all the nations to whom I send thee to drink it. And they shall drink and be moved and be mad. Because the sword that I will send among them. Then took I the cup of Jehovah's hand, and made all the nations to drink unto whom Jehovah had sent me, to wit, Jerusalem and the cities of Yehuda, and the kings thereof, and the princes thereof, to make them a desolation and an astonishment and a hissing and a curse, as it is this day. Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and his servants, and his princes, and all his people, and all the mingled people, and all the kings of the land of Uz, and all the kings of the land of the Philistines, and the Ashkelons, and the Azah, and Ekron, and the remnant of Ashdod, Edom, and Moab. Hey, Missouri, there you are, Mo. Anyway, and the children of Ammon, and all the kings of Tyrus, and all the kings of Zidon, and the kings of the islands, and that which are beyond the sea of Dedan, and Tema, and Buz, and that are in the uttermost corners, and all the kings of Arabia, and all the kings of the mingled people that dwell in the desert, and all the kings of Zimri, and all the kings of Elam, all the kings of the Medes, and all the kings of the north, far and near, one with another, and all the kingdoms of the world, which are upon the face of the earth, and the king of Shishak shall drink after them. Therefore thou shalt say unto them, thus saith Jehovah Elohim of hosts, the God of Yisrael, drink ye, and spew and vomit, and fall and rise no more. This is why. Because of the sword which I will send among you, and it shall be, if you refuse to take this cup at thine hand to drink, then you shall say, thus saith Jehovah, you shall drink it. You shall do it. It's because of oppression. It tells us right in here, because it's going to tell you that it's because of oppressors. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, you shall surely drink it. For lo, I begin to bring evil on the city which it is called by my name, and should you utterly be unpunished, you shall not be unpunished, for I will call for a sword upon all the inhabitants of the earth, saith Jehovah of hosts. Therefore prophesy thou against them these words, and say unto them, Jehovah shall roar from on high, and utter his voice from his holy habitation, and he shall mightily roar upon his habitation, and he shall give a shout as they that tread the grapes against all the inhabitants of the earth. A noise shall come even to the ends of the earth, for Jehovah has a controversy with the nations. Your God, my God, he's got a controversy with all the nations of the world. He's got a controversy with the nations, and he will plead with all flesh. He's been pleading with all flesh, folks. Everybody. But nobody wants to hear, because I skipped a lot of verses before this, but he said, he sent his prophets rising up early and telling people to turn and stop your wickedness so that you can live and not die. And they said, nah, go on. We don't want to hear you. So people bringing wrath all over the place because of the nastiness, greed, oppression, stinginess, my for no more, and I want to covet after what you got, and it got you killed, you and your family and everything else, because this wickedness is coming upon the whole earth. It's because of leadership allowing crap in the earth realm. And it does go to crap here, by the way. We're going to get to that. A lot of times got to bring the word excrement out. It's found right here. He has a controversy with the nations, and he will plead with all flesh, and he will give them that are wicked to the sword of Jehovah. Thus saith Jehovah of hosts, behold, evil shall go forth from nation to nation. What did it say? Evil shall go forth. Evilness. They want wickedness so bad. Here it comes. Straight from God's hand. You gonna drink this cup, folks. Evil shall go forth from nation to nation, and a great whirlwind shall be raised up from the coast of the earth. And the slain of Jehovah shall be at that day from one end of the earth even unto the other end of the earth, and they shall not be lamented for, neither gathered nor buried. They shall be as dung on the ground. Poop. Stink. Garbage. Let's see what he says to the pastors and the preachers and the hallelujah Luciferians. Howl, you shepherds, and cry, and wallow yourselves in the ashes, you principal of the flock, for the days of your slaughter and of your dispersions are accomplished, and you shall fall like a pleasant vessel, and the shepherd shall have no way to flee, nor the principal of the flock to escape. A voice of the cry of the shepherds and a howling of the principal of the flock shall be heard, for Jehovah has spoiled their pasture. And the peaceable habitations are cut down because of the fierce anger of Jehovah. He has forsaken his covert. And as a lion, for the land is desolate because of the fierceness of the oppressor and because of his fierce anger. Let's go to Revelation real quick. Give me just a second to get there. Revelation chapter 18 says, after these things I saw another angel come down from heaven, having great power, and the earth was lighted with his glory. And he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon the Great is fallen. And actually, the king of Babylon is actually talked up above those scriptures that I was just reading in Jeremiah. And I also heard yesterday morning, Babylon is fallen, is fallen. And this portion is found here today as he took me to Revelation to read this, because it does go hand in hand with Jeremiah. Anyway, he says, and he cried mightily with a strong voice, saying, Babylon is fallen. Babylon the Great is fallen, and is become the habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. Birds. America's a bird, right? It's prideful here. God, we allow pride to be over the top of this nation, and yet we know God hates pride. And I heard the president say, we're going to bring God back into this nation. What God are we bringing into this nation? Because you allow pride. You allow I'm proud to be an American to be sung over this nation after every leadership. How many times that song, and I'm not getting on to Mr. Greenwood and everything else, but we better be careful about our words, because the word pride take you to all kinds of pompous, nasty stuff. The word pride is still the word pride, and God ain't proud. He's either pleased with us or he hates pridefulness. And it is hateful here. For some of us, we can testify that the United States of America is so pompous and prideful and crazy in what I'm dealing with. It is full of hateful, foul birds here. full of evil spirits. Because why? We're proud to be an American, for at least I know I'm free, Mason. And we talked about the Masons, and God has really been bringing them out, and they are found in the freaking church, and they are oppressors, and God's going to kick them right where it freaking hurts. Right in their pompous ass. Because they stink like the dung that they are. Anyway, it's become a habitation of devils, and the hold of every foul spirit, and a cage of every unclean and hateful bird. For all nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, and the merchants of the earth are waxed rich through the abundance of her delicacies. And I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, come out. If you really belong to God, you won't be under this nonsense. You'll point your finger at nastiness and say what it's supposed to be. And you won't be up in here going, well, I'm going to be hateful right back and be some kind of crazy and play around with demons and stuff. You're under a judgment there. You're under a freaking demonic judgment that God said for evil to evil was going from nation to nation on this stuff. He said, I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people. Why? That you may not be partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. If you don't come out of this, you are going to be plagued. You will be plagued, and you will not be protected from the Most High God. If you don't release me and my things, this day, thus saith Jehovah, you're damned. In this prophecy, because you and I could never escape what God's going to say is going to happen to us if we're upright or if we're not. There's prophecies for both sides of stuff. What are you going to do? Come out of her, my people, that you be not partakers of her sins, and that you receive not of her plagues. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and God has remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she rewarded you. You reap what you sow. And double according to her works in the cup. That cup you shall surely drink, is what we just read. You will drink, whether you say, now we won't. Yes, you will. Yes, you will. How much she has glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow give her. Get off on being oppressive and crazy. You loved it so much, you get double, God says. For she has in her heart said, well, I sit as a queen. Is that liberty? It's all the nations sitting up in here in their pompous pride and their hatefulness, saying, well, I sit a queen, and I am no widow, and I shall see no sorrow. Well, you're going to drink this cup. Therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine, and she shall be utterly burned with fire. We already started seeing fire in the California area, right? For strong is Jehovah Elohim who judges her. Strong. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication and lived deliciously with her shall bewail her and lament her when she shall see when they shall see the smoke of her burning, standing afar off for the fear of her torment, saying, alas, alas, the great city Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour is thy judgment come. And the merchants of the earth shall weep and mourn over her, for no man buys their merchandise anymore. Reset. Reset. God said it's going to make people angry. Reset. The merchandise of gold and silver and precious stone and of pearls and fine linen and purple and silk and scarlet and wood and manner vessels of ivory and all manner vessels of most precious wood and of brass and iron and marble and cinnamon and odors and ointments and all this fragrance, frankincense, wine, oil and fine flour and wheat and beasts and sheep and horses and chariots and slaves and souls of men. And the fruits that thy soul lusted after are departed from thee, and all things which were dainty and goodly are departed from thee, and thou shalt find them no more at all. The merchants of these things which were made rich by her shall stand afar off for the fear of her torment. They're going to see it. People are going to see it, weeping and wailing and saying, alas, alas, the great city that was clothed in fine linen and purple and scarlet and decked with gold and precious stones and pearls, for in 1 hour so great riches is come to naught. Wow. People running after the money, running to covet stuff. It's going to come to freaking naught because of greed and hateful, oppressive nonsense going on. And all the companies in the ships, and the shipmasters and sailors, and as many as trade by sea, stood afar off and cried when they saw the smoke of her burning, saying, what city is like unto this great city? And they cast dust on their heads, and they cried, weeping and wailing, saying, alas, alas, the great city wherein were made rich and all that had ships in the sea by reason of her coastlines. For in 1 hour, just like that, in 1 hour is she made desolate. Rejoice over her, thou heaven, and you holy apostles and prophets, for Elohim has avenged you on her. People are hurting, the people of God and the prophets, and God is getting up, and he said he will avenge for the blood of his servants. And anyway, people better watch out what they're doing, because we hear in this hour it is a reset time. I don't know what side you're on, but God said the other day, better pick a side. You come out of her, God's people. You don't have any business being involved with worldly nonsense. So you either are for God or you're not. There is a great reset and a great separation taking place. And this is fierce anger, enough to say that God said, I'm going to lay you like dung shit all over the earth realm, and nobody's going to mourn for you for being the way that you have been. It also went on, and a mighty angel took up a stone like a great milestone, and he cast it into the sea, saying, thus with violence shall that great city Babylon be thrown down, and shall be found no more at all. It's going to go away. You're going to be able to see this. It's going to go under some water here. And the voice of harpers, here's the music industry. And the voice of harpers and magicians and pipers and trumpeters shall be heard no more at all. And no more craftsmen. And whosoever of whatsoever craft he shall be found any more in thee. And the sound of a millstone shall be heard no more at all in thee. And the light of a candle shall shine no more at all in thee. And the voice of the bridegroom and the bride shall be heard no more at all in thee. For the merchants were the great men of the earth. For by thy sorceries were all the nations deceived. The word sorcery goes to pharmakia, where we get our word pharmacy. That's why when you see the magician card, it's a magician type of energy. It's sorcery. It said what? For by thee sorceries were all nations deceived. And in her was found the blood of prophets and of saints and of all that were slain upon the earth. Give her double for hurting the people of God. You're under a judgment. From this moment on, this word has been spoken and it shall perform. It's already been spoken. It's in motion. You don't give back right now what you should. You're going to drink double. And you're going to stink upon the earth like poop. Have a great day, those of you who are upright. God's going to take vengeance for us.